A court stays execution of judgment in favor of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Emizare News. We bring you the topmost of the top of all the news that are happening all over the world. We are listening to the news proper. And if this is your first time on our channel, don't forget to hit the subscription button. Just hit the subscription button right now. Hit the like button and also on your notification button so that whenever our news drop, you will be the first to collect it or listen to the news proper. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja on Friday suspended the execution of its judgment that ordered the federal government to release the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB Nnamdi Kanu, from detention. The appellate court, in a unanimous decision by a three-man panel led by Justice Haruna Tzani, granted the application FG brought for stay of execution of the judgment pending the hearing and determination of the appeal it lodged before the Supreme Court. However, the appellate court ordered FG to within 7 days transmit the record of appeal as well as its verdict on the matter to the Apex Court to enable speedy determination of the case. It will be recalled that Appellate Court had last Monday reserved its ruling on the application of the filed for the judgment that quashed the entire 15-count terrorism charge it preferred against Kanu not to be executed, pending determination of an appeal it has lodged before the Supreme Court. My people, now so we see for today. Also, we see today, my people, for Emissary News. This is politics. This is politics, and the higher echelon. This is cabalism, and the higher echelon. The other time that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, was discharged, and all 15-count charge against him were quashed by the appellate court. But as it stands now, the federal government have filed so that those the decision will be stayed for now, because after MNK was discharged from by the appeal court, all charges against him were quashed, and the appeal court asked the FG to release him immediately. But the AGF of the Federation, in the person of Abubakar Malami, say that for certain reasons that Kanu will not be released immediately because there are some charges that are preferred against him even before the extraordinary rendition charge against him. Of course, you know that the Attorney General of the Federation maintained that what the appellate court quashed was only the case that bordered on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's extraordinary rendition, but he said that there are other charges that were preferred against him that have not been quashed even before he was extraordinary rendition from Kenya. He mentioned charges like treasonable felony and the rest of them, murder and incitement of the public to destroy the properties of the citizen and also properties that belongs to the nation. And that is Malami's stance. Of course, now the FG have filed that the appellate court will stay their judgment for now, and I think that is what the appellate court is proceeding to do. And Malami has said that when it comes to issue that concern an individual and the government or the nation comes forth because of security and the rest of them. And he quoted the case of FG versus Dokubo, and he maintained on that any issue that affects or threats the peace of the nation should be forgotten, that an individual cannot be greater than a nation. And that is what Malami has said. And now they have appealed that they have written to the appeal court in order to stay their judgment. And Malami has also stated why he will not release MNK. He said the federal government yesterday adduced reasons he has not obeyed the judgment of the Court of Appeal that ordered the release of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, from detention. Government, in a fresh affidavit filed before the Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal maintained that Kanu posed a flight risk, insisting he would escape from the country as soon as he was freed from detention. The affidavit was attached in support of an application seeking to stay the execution of the appellate court verdict that quashed the entire 15-count terrorism charge the federal government preferred against the embattled IPOB leader. Arguing the application yesterday, an assistant state counsel in the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. David Kashi, told the court that the case against Kanu bordered on national security. Kashi argued that Kanu's fundamental right should not supersede the interests of the nation, relying on the decided case that in Federal Republic of Nigeria vs. Asari Dokubo, the federal government argued that once a case touched on national security, the right of the individual affected took second place. So now the issue here, according to Malami and FG, is that what concerns Kanu and the FG, that Kanu comes in the second place while the FG is in the first place, because it is the issue that borders on the threatening of the national security. He said it is important to appreciate the gamut of the disposition in our application. The respondent is a flight risk person, and one of the ground of our application is that this matter touches on national security of the state. We further rely on the case of FRN versus Dokubo, where the Supreme Court held that where national security is threatened or when there is likelihood of it being threatened, human rights take secondary place. Once there is a threat to national security, human rights of any individual can be suspended until such threat is taken care of. Once security of the nation is in jeopardy, the individual rights may not even exist, government lawyers argued. Besides, he told the court that intelligence reports in government's position indicated that releasing the IPOB leader from detention will worsen the security situation in Southeast. The defendant has shown that he has the capacity to jump bail or to escape from lawful custody. There is reasonable intelligence that the enforcement of the judgment of this court, pending determination of our appeal at the Supreme Court, may impact negatively on the declining security in the Southeast. No court can close its eyes on activities happening around it. As we speak, the entire social media is awash with threat to security in the country. We believe that there is an exceptional circumstance to warrant this court to grant our application. We urge this court to resolve the sole issue we raise and find our application meritorious in the interest of justice and unity of the country, federal government's lawyer added. However, Kanu's lawyer Mike Ozekome-San urged the appellate court to dismiss FG's application, which he said was tantamount to seeking the stay of the liberty of a citizen. Ozekome argued that contrary to FG's position, Kanu's release from detention will guarantee peace in both the Southeast and the country. He said, in fact, my lord, on the contrary, the release of Kanu will actually bring peace and tranquility to the Southeast in particular and in the nation in general. This was demonstrated after the judgment of this court that ordered the release of the respondent immediately the judgment was delivered. There was so much joy and happiness in the entire Southeast. There was so much jubilation and merriment. He argued that Dokubo's case was different from that of Kanu. According to him, while Dokubo applied to be granted bail pending determination of the charge against him, in Kanu's case, the appellate court had already terminated his trial and ordered his release. Relying on the case of Olisameto vs. FRN, Kanu's lawyer argued that the law forbade the grant of stay of execution in a criminal case. He told the court that the indigenous people of Biafra leader did not jump bail, stressing that they only escaped from the country to save his life after the soldiers illegally invaded his house in 2017 in an operation that led to the death of 28 persons. So this is Ozekome's argue, and Ozekome is strongly believing that his client will be released. If this is your first time, I'll be winding down the curtain here. If this is your first time on Emizari News, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, don't forget to on your notification button so that when our news enter, now you go be the first where you go enter for. God bless you and thank you for listening.